you know, I look back at my life, I've been very, very fortunate like that. But there was a time when I look back on it and think, you know, it was tough. I had my 2 kids, I was looking after them myself, and I had to go work, was working on a building site, you know, getting up early, finishing late, and by the end of the week, time I paid for all the bills, time I paid for the kids, I had no money, and then you've got to go and do it all again the following week. I would probably look back on that and think that I was depressed. How did I get out of it? Luck, bit of fortune. I got into dry cleaning, that helped. But I think, like, you know, if I had therapy or something like that, it would have been something that I could have used to my advantage and made me have snapped out of it a little bit quicker. I don't know from that point of view. The thing is now with mental health, it's very much out there, where back in my day it wasn't. And there's so much more now available, and a therapist would be a fantastic opportunity. And you know, I just believe now that, you know, that with all the things that are out there, it makes life a lot easier and be a lot happier. I honestly feel at that sort of time, when I reflect on that, was that where I wanted to go? Is that where I wanted to be? No, but I was in a bit of a rut, and as I say, fortunately I got out of it through luck. But therapy, all things like that would be fantastic. And listen, you don't need luck no more. A therapist will listen and ask questions and help you see life from a different perspective. They can give you advice and techniques to make positive changes to your life. BetterHelp is a paid partner for this video. Their mission is to make it easier for you to start therapy. Fill out the questionnaire and you will be matched with a therapist as soon as possible. Easily switch therapists at any time for no extra cost if it's not the right fit for you. With over 7,000 reviews and a rating of 4.3 on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. Click the link in the description or go to BetterHelp Lee Judges to get 10% off your first month's therapy.
What's good, people? Welcome back to the channel. It's myself and Lee Judges with something a little bit different. I want to get Judges' honest opinions on where the manager is at right now, because I feel like there's a lot of people that have an understanding of where we're at with Arteta, where I'm at with Mikel Arteta. But let's see where Lee Judges is at, because I feel like we need to do something a little bit different and get a bit of an understanding. Me and Lee are normally back and forth. I'm going to stay out of this one. I think people know my opinion on the manager, and I know that I still believe that he needs to get across the line before I'm convinced. But we're going to ask some serious questions to Judges about his time at Arsenal so far and get a bit of an understanding about why we think we can win the league this season, or why Lee Judges believes that Arsenal can win the league this season under Mikel Arteta. So, Lee, welcome. I know your thoughts on Mikel, and they have changed over the years.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something a little bit different today and ask some quick fire questions to you. So the first question I'm going to ask you is right at the start. Your first impression of Mikel Arteta, do you remember what it was?
Yeah, his first interview, was very impressed with him at first. That first interview that he done, I was very, very impressed with what he done. I'm going to be really honest. He wasn't the manager that I wanted to come to Arsenal. I didn't think he had the experience. And I'm going to be really honest about it. As we said, we're trying to be honest about this in this conversation. He was never really my favourite Arsenal player, you know, so if someone like Patrick Vieira or a Cesc Fabregas had come in, or someone like that, I would have been a little bit more patient, if you like. So that was there. Listen, started off fantastically well by winning the FA Cup. I was impressed with his tactics and everything like that. So first impressions of him, he won me over, Dan. I'm going to say that. I wasn't for it, but I felt that first press conference and the way he went about things at first were very, very good. And winning the FA Cup was a fantastic start for him.
Yeah, it was. I've got to be honest. Words are one thing, actions are another. He said he was going to, win something here, wanting to win something there, and that's exactly what he did. But my next question is actually around the job he's done. What have you made of the job so far, taking us from 8th place to now competing for the Premier League title? I know we haven't got across the line yet, but the job that he has done so far, from picking up an Unai Emery / Wenger side that wasn't really competing for the Champions League, let alone for the Premier League title, does he deserve praise for the job he's done to get us competing now?
Yeah, I think like you have to look at the overall picture. I think that you've got to look. I don't buy into all this stuff of look where Arsenal were. They were a shambles and that. Like, it wasn't a shambles. We was fifth in the league the season before. So, what I'll call if Arsenal was a shambles, we was in the bottom three or bottom two. Like Harry Redknapp took over at Tottenham that time and built them to a Champions League team. You know what I mean? So I don't think we was in as bad as position everybody makes out, to give him the credit in the bank for that. But what I would say is that, look, to get us competing, challenging for titles, and putting us in the mix is fantastic. I remember once when I watched Arsenal in America, I said Arsenal come runners up. People laughed at me because that's where we were. It was a little bit of a laughing stock. So now all of a sudden we are definitely challengers for the title. I've always said that's, I've always said that that's what I expect from an Arsenal manager and expect from an Arsenal team, to be challenging. He has done that. He's challenged us. We go to places like Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City now, not getting stuffed 4, 5, 6. We go there competing, come away from some of those grounds disappointed that we've not won, disappointed that we've only drawn games. So I'll give credit for him there. The whole package, I think he's done a fantastic job. There is a different argument, and probably we might go into that because I don't know the questions, like can he get us over the line? But for where we are and where Arsenal are now, he has done a very, very good job for us.
Yeah, look, he deserves praise without a doubt for getting us to that level. My question mark is, can he get us across the line?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask this one, which might sound a bit of a negative question, but I think it's a genuine, justified one to ask you. Do you think that he is lucky to still be Arsenal manager? There's some out there in the past that he should have been sacked. So he's lucky to still be the Arsenal manager and keep his job. And if I'm honest, you don't normally get 5, 6 years in the job anymore. It's quite brutal. It's quite ruthless in the Premier League. And you've seen only Pep Guardiola, I think, and David Moyes are the only managers that are still managing their clubs longer than him. Obviously, Moyes has since left and gone to Everton. So you've only really got Pep now that's been there long term. So do you think he's lucky to still be the Arsenal boss?
In the current climate and everything about football and Arsenal Football Club, yes, I do think he's very, very fortunate. I'm very, very lucky. I've always said he's a lucky manager. Look at him. You know what I mean? He's a millionaire. He's played for Arsenal. He's got all his own here. You know what I mean? He's got a good-looking wife. A good job now. Abs. He's got it all. So he's very, very lucky and very, very fortunate. Can speak 2 languages. Good-looking son of a bitch as well. What I mean? He's got everything going for him. He's very, very lucky to have been given the opportunity to manage listen, we come 8th and we was poor. We was losing at home. We was losing at home to teams that have never beaten us at the Emirates. They were dark days. I will say, in his defence, he's been unlucky on certain things. He had to go through COVID, which was one thing. I think that we was having an unbelievable time of winning the league when it shut down for the World Cup, which has never, ever happened before. We lost our best player, which was Gabriel Jesus, in that World Cup. So there have been circumstances that have happened, but I think in the beginning and the time that he got, I think he was very, very fortunate to stay in a job. But there you go. Sometimes you have to be lucky in life, lucky as a manager, and lucky in football, and he's had it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think he's been lucky. I do. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve still to be Arsenal manager. There's some people that don't believe he does. I don't think it's right to say that we should get this guy out now, but I have personally believed he's been lucky to stay in the job, and I probably would have sacked him if it was my decision making before now. So let's come to the big question, Judge. Does he have to deliver a trophy this season?
Yes. I do think that he has to deliver this season. Look, you've got no divine right to win titles and trophies and cups and all that. Like, you have to have a little bit of luck, but I think somewhere along the line you earn your little bit of luck. I also think at times we've thrown away opportunities to win trophies, and I get the reasons why and all that. But you can't keep doing that. There's got to be a way to get to get it. Like I think he needs to win a trophy this season. And I think, if I be really honest, he needs to win one of the big ones. One of the big ones. If he does that, I honestly think that will be the monkey off his back, and I do think that we'll go on to do better. But he has to get over the line. I think it's the only question now on him. You can look at other things. I think tactically he's done very, very well. He's going, to go deep into the Champions League with the squad that he had last season is a big feather in his cap, which I don't think gets the credit it deserves. The only reason I think that we didn't beat PSG that day is because Thomas Partey was suspended for that first game. I think if Thomas Partey would have played in that game, I think Arsenal would have got something. That's my opinion. But I felt over the two legs we were beaten by a better team that went on to win it. And I look at where they are now. There weren't a lot in it. So tactically he's producing. But the one question mark now, and it's the biggest question mark of all, can he get us over the line? He needs to get us over the line.
He does. Do you think we're going to win the league, Lee?
Yes. I do think this is our best opportunity. I think we've got the best defence in the league. I think when you've got the best defence in the league, you've got more than enough chance of winning the league. It's then other things that get you there. I think he's got the squad now to work with, and we're in a fantastic position at this moment in time. And I think the hurt and all the things that have gone on before will be fuel, and also the knowledge, I think, will get us over the line this time round. Yeah, so I'm going to go.
Love the optimism, man. Love the optimism. Let me ask this. This might be a nice segue. Is there anything you see that's different about Arsenal this year?
Yes. Not in terms of the way we're going about things. I think that what I feel that Arsenal and Mikel Arteta as a club, we're learning from mistakes that were made previously. The squad wasn't strong enough last season. Yes, the window of last summer wasn't good enough when you look back at it. It didn't fill the gaps that were needed. This season, I don't think you can say that. I think every gap has been plugged. So much so that when Eze came to the club, I think the fan base got more overexcited about that than probably should have done, because it was like we felt then we got what we wanted. It was like, we won't get Eze because we've got this and got this and got that. But we went and done that. And then we went on top of that and bought another player after that. To bring in 8 players, I think was a massive, massive shift in the way Arsenal were thinking, the way the manager's thinking. And maybe the manager got what he wanted. And, from last season in January, getting nothing to getting what he's got in the summer, I think that there was a definite shift in change. And I like what I'm seeing with Arsenal at the moment. I feel that there are things that Mikel's got to learn, but with being with a big squad, I think people have turned around and said, whether you think it's a criticism or not, he likes to manage a small squad. I think that probably he'd agree with that, but you can't have a small squad to win on all fronts then. So I think that there has been definitely a change from that point of view.
No, I totally agree. I think it's the strongest squad we've had since Highbury days. I've got to be honest with you. Look, let's ask this question. What do you think Arteta still does need to learn? Is there anything about his management style or perhaps previously that he's got wrong that he still needs to try to learn to get right? This season, we've seen a lot of praise for him and for how we're playing at the moment in the first sort of quarter of the season. Do you still think there's more learning for him to do?
Yeah, I think you can. Everybody's learning all the time. I don't think that you should be saying, right, that's me, I'm done. I think that I think Mikel would probably say that as well. I think where he's got to learn, and I think that he's done it well so far this season, is rotation, player rotation. I think that if you go back to the season when Manchester City won the treble and we went on that fantastic run, what cost us was the games against Bayern Munich and Aston Villa, because the Aston Villa game was in between that Champions League game. He made a couple of changes and it didn't work, and we ended up going out to to Bayern Munich and also losing to Aston Villa, which ultimately cost us the title. I think he's learning from that. I think there's something that he's got to learn. I feel that he's making rotations, 1 or 2, 3, not major rotations in League and Champions League. So he's navigating that very, very well. So I do think that he's learning from that. We're top of the league at this moment in time with a bit of rotation. I think that we're unbeaten in the Champions League after 3 rounds. There's a little bit of a learning curve there. So he's seeming to be learning. And it's now for me, the one thing that he's got to do and add that string to his bow is manage a very, very strong squad of a lot of good, very, very good international players. Also, which I think is going to be a problem for him. Well, not maybe a problem for him, but something that he's got to think about is a lot of these players playing international football and are going to want to be in the World Cup. So they'll be looking at wanting to get some minutes. So not only is he got to manage what's best for the Arsenal Football Club, he's also got to manage what's best for the players as well. So there's a little bit of a balancing act there. And we'll see that if he can do that. But I think that what I've liked about Mikel this season and perhaps over the course of the last year or so is that there's been mistakes made, not just by him, but by the club as well, and transfer or whatever. They seem to be rectified. They seem to be making those sort of alignments so they don't happen again. And that's what Mikel's got to do. Make sure that, you've made mistakes, learn from them and sort them out. He seems to be doing that at this moment in time, hence why we're where we are in the league.
Yeah, look, I think the only things I would add to that you've said is that I think he needs to learn how to beat a low block, and I think he started to do that. Let's hope he can continue to do that. I agree with you about the rotation, which he's doing better. Also, I think he needs to trust his defence a bit more and take the handbrake off more at times, because I feel like we can play a lot more free-flowing with the defence that we've got. But other than that, I think you're spot on. Look, I'll come to the last question, Lee, which is this. We don't just want to win a Premier League title or a Champions League. We want to go and dominate. Do you think that Arteta can win trophies at Arsenal in years to come? Do you think he is the guy that can get us across the line, not just this season, but for the next few seasons? Arsenal, with the squad that we've got, should be able to win trophies.
Yes, I do. And I feel that one thing that we've not really mentioned at this moment in time is that there is, every time that Arsenal play at this moment in time, and it's going to get further as we go down the line, is pressure. Can we deliver under pressure? I think that's the big question mark under Mikel. I think that when there have been pressure games, I look back at, as I said earlier on, that against PSG when Thomas Partey got injured, I felt that he made too many changes to that midfield and it cost us. So I feel that there will be times when sometime along in the season, it's not going to go right. You're not going to have the players that you want at your disposal. So he's got to make those right decisions under that pressure. When it's not going right, make the right decisions. And I feel that that's something that he's not been able to do at this moment in time. This season, he seems to be doing that. But I think that if he can handle the pressure, and I do think if Arsenal can get one under their belt, and I don't mean this stupidly, really. If they were to win the Carabao Cup, I think that they could go on to win a few more. I think with this squad and this defence is improving all the time. They're still not at their peak, some of these players. And with the right guidance from him as a manager, Arsenal should and could win more than one trophy in the next few years. But I think as we've gone over, I said earlier on, he has got to get over the line, because if he doesn't get over the line, say this season, the pressure will be tenfold building, and it'll be too much. You know what I mean? So that pressure valve of pressure has got to be released. And the only way that's going to be released is by winning a trophy. Once he's done that, I do think there may be some good times ahead for Arsenal. I really do. But that first one, as you know, as I know, is always the toughest.
Look, there you have it, people. Arsenal can win the league this season. Arsenal can go and win trophies after that first one. I actually agree with you, Lee, about the Carabao Cup. Win that one, install that winning mentality, and then go on to better things. Lee, always a pleasure. Make sure you do me a favor, people. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. We're out of here, people.